Hi, it's Dave. How are you doing? So today I'm out here camping with my kids. I'm in the middle of a 5-day camping trip in Texas, and it's great. We're exploring the state parks and really checking out scenery, doing daily hikes, and the kids just love camping. In this video, I kind of want to share an approach I have with raising my kids, and that is investing in my kids through taking them out in adventure, exploration, and camping and exploring the world. Currently, I have a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old. And going camping, we have an RV, but still, it's extremely difficult to go camping with a 3 and 6-year-old, even in an RV. Our RV is actually quite small; it's about 25 feet or so, and it's tight in space. And oftentimes, we're hit with lots of the elements. There's rain, and you can't go out for the whole day. When you're stuck in a small, RV, there could be snow. When we're driving out to Texas couple months ago, we were stuck in a snowstorm and we couldn't go further. And then our tire blew and we couldn't move, and it was just crazy. There in the summer, there are often mosquitoes and bugs and bug bites. You have to deal with like poison oak and ivy and poisonous snakes, and there's lots of instability and unknown with the weather, with the environment, and etc. In fact, a lot of times it's easier just to live in a house or live in an apartment or live in a cozy place that you call home that isn't changing so much. However, personally, I look at camping as an investment in my kids and as an especially precious one and valuable investment in my kids. That's why I place an extremely high priority in camping. Last year in 2020, we actually spent 4 or 5 months actually in our RV traveling to different national parks, state parks, to the beach, and different places. Now, here are a few reasons why I think it's worth investing in my kids this way. Number one, I think when we get stuck in a house or a comfortable place that's our daily go-to, oftentimes we get stuck in comfort. And when we get stuck in comfort, we lose our kind of will for exploration. And when we get stuck in our kind of house where we know everything about it, it's all about the comfort and convenience that that house brings. And our kids pick up on that. And the attitude that our kids have when they're in a very comfortable place that they've been for many, many months or years, it's very noticeable. However, when I take my kids camping, for example, it's all about exploration. They're out of their comfort zone and they're trying to figure out where they are. And they're trying to figure out, oh, where is this camping site? Where is this park? And they notice all of the different things about the trees and the animals and different things around them. And they're constantly asking, so where are we going today? What's next? And there's so much unknown that adds to kind of that exploration. So for me to give my kids kind of a counter, kind of a reaction to kind of the comfort and convenience and the stuckness that sometimes we can have by just being stuck in our house. The second angle of investment I see with camping and investing in my kids is that it teaches my kids that there's so much to learn in the world. See, when we are constantly on the move and we're going to new places that we've never been before, I think there's a sense of humility and a sense of kind of instability. And sometimes it's kind of scary at times to be a place where you don't know and you've never been before. And I think that's a special place to be, where you don't have the mastery of your surroundings and you don't know much about the place, but you do need to find out about the place. So for example, we're hitting a state park about a couple hours from Austin, and we know nothing about the place. We know nothing about the surroundings, how the nature is, or the birds, or the lakes, or the rivers, and we're learning about that on the go. And there's something about that where that attitude of humility of like, wow, I really don't know much about my surroundings. I think that's actually a great habit to have. It's this mentality of openness, this mentality of hunger to learn. And oftentimes I think by being stuck in the same place day in, day out for months and years on end, we lose that kind of sense of that awe of the world. The world is immensely big, and there are so many different ways people live. There are different climates, different ecosystems, and there's so much, I think, awe and wonder that kids can have and adults can have if we go through the world not pretending to be masters and knowing everything about everything, but rather as learners, right? Trying to figure out things for the first time. All right, another angle with why camping for me is investing in my kids is it teaches my kids an attitude that we're just passing through in this life. I think oftentimes when we're stuck in one place, we're surrounded by world and values and a whole world kind of view that focuses on accumulation and focuses on wealth and it focuses on comfort. And I think we miss the bigger picture of it all. And I want to teach my kids how to make the most of the moment and how to make most of that time. And I want to teach them a perspective on what's important. I want to teach them perspective on character, on relationships, on kind of being in touch with nature and the world and really understanding, right, their place in the bigger picture of things. All right, number 4, another reason I think camping is a great investment for my kids is it teaches my kids that we're on the same team. And during our travels, we're often having to rely on each other. And there are a lot of tough times. Sometimes we're hiking and we need to help each other in a gruesome hike, or we're gathering firewood for that night and we're having to gather kindling and put things together, or we're putting out our camping equipment or going to a new place. And there's so many things that have to come together to be able to go many places together. Another great thing about living in a small place, which there are definitely cons, especially living in tight quarters. But one thing positive about living in tight quarters is it teaches us to kind of manage to live together, right? And there are lots of things that we might not get along with each other, but we're forced to because that's the nature of the environment, right? We're just having to live with each other, and we have a choice to make. Do we make the best of it? Do we have a positive attitude? We just have the most fun of our lives, or do we complain and look at all the downsides? And I want to teach my kids that positive attitude, no matter what situation they're in. They can look at things positively, optimistically, and an ability to overcome and to make the best out of the situation. I think overall, I think the whole attitude I have toward my kids and getting them out camping so often is it could be a reaction to the stagnant, kind of comfort-driven focus of daily living that often pervades our lives in modern culture. And it reminds me of stagnant waters, where you have a river or lake and it's just stuck, let's say, or you have a place of a lake that's just stuck. There's no, or waters that are just stuck, and it doesn't have any place to flow. It doesn't have any place to go. And I think at times, right, the structure of our lives, the way our environments are set up, our neighborhoods and our schools and our work, etc., is not conducive to this type of transitory / movement in our life. And it's really boxes us into a lot of stagnation. And oftentimes we wonder, like, why are kids so bored? Why are they so unhappy? And the bigger question, I think, oftentimes is, what is giving our kids exploration, right? What is giving our kids the drive to be curious, to learn, to understand the world is bigger, much, much bigger than what they might see in their bedroom or in the neighborhood. And I think that's kind of the appeal of camping, the appeal of travel, the appeal of seeing new cultures, new places, is that it invites us into a world that is much bigger than us. And it teaches us that there's so much to learn in the world, and there's so much to learn about people. I think there's a fascination about the world, about cultures, about people, that when planted at a very young age, it could really spur a lot of curiosity and adventure. And that's kind of the foundation I want to gift my kids with at whatever age it is. I think even the younger, the better. And lastly, I think there's an issue of resilience where, I think living in a comfort-driven, kind of convenience-driven world where everything is, delivered by Amazon, or you even get your groceries delivered and everything is so comfortable, let's say in a house or in a place that's just like, your home. And I think there's a level where, we miss out on resilience, where there's a sense of resilience you get when you have a lot of unknowns, where you don't know where you're going to be next week, where you don't know where your surroundings are tomorrow. And there's a sense of resilience of trying to figure that out, right? And the sense of being a little bit off balance, where you're not just in the same place year in and year out. I think that attitude, and I call it in a sense of humility toward kind of life and the world at hand. I think that's kind of the seed of curiosity that really teaches us to step out of our comfort zone and into a world of exploration and learning. Anyways, these are just some thoughts that I wanted to share while I'm on my trip right here. My kids are outside actually playing around and having a snack with my wife. And I wanted to share those thoughts and hope it's been helpful. All right, take care, and we'll see you in my next video. Thanks.